This is the Kaylie and Carol show. We are mother and daughter mediums having real life conversations about life, healing, and spirituality.
Okay, so I was just thinking, I don't know, well, and I feel like that's where all of our topics stem from, is things that happen to us on a daily basis, things that we hear from our clients, from our friends, and just what's going on in our lives. And I was just thinking about the topic of healing. What even is healing? What does it mean? What does healing look like? And something that I've also been thinking about, and you can let me know your thoughts, is if you think everybody wants to heal, or if you think, like, I don't know, do you think people, is there a reason people choose to stay stuck sometimes, or is there a reason they don't, I don't know, like, look at their stuff or move
I know,
forward?
I was
Because
just thinking, like, or when you kind of look at someone and think that they need healing.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like people in your lives, like whether it's parents, spouses, children, but like you are looking for that deeper connection with them, and you see areas where, I mean, I know some people where they're not interested. They don't even think they need to heal, let alone.
well, and that's where I almost even question then our own stuff, because if you don't know this, we got into this work when I was really, really young, 10 years old. I've talked about in older videos, like watching videos on healing from teachers about my thoughts, my belief systems, ever since I was 10 years old. All of these things, just YouTube video after YouTube video. And I mean, that is not the average life for a 10-year-old, 15-year-old, someone in high school, even whatever, even for an adult. So who are we to say that someone needs healing? Is that even our place? I don't know. That's another question. And I feel like, but then at the same time, I'm like, well, you can kind of tell if someone's acting from a trigger, or if someone's projecting something onto you because of their own pain. So, yeah, I don't know.
I think you can tell if you're into healing, if you're into seeing things in your life that aren't maybe going a certain way, or where you feel stuck. So then it goes back to like where energy goes, energy flows type of thing. Like,
I think
it's our choice.
I think that's the difference, is like we can say like, oh, I can see where that person's unhealed, but it's not for us to say it needs to happen, because it might not need to happen in their lifetime. There's people that go lifetimes without wanting to look within, without wanting to heal, like they're good in their stuff. It's not even anything in their conscious mind. But then you have people who might be obsessed with it, or want to know everything they can about why they feel a certain way, or why this is coming up for them, or just want to feel better, and they're looking for answers. Some people are looking for answers, some people aren't. So I feel like that's the difference, is it's not that we can't say, because for a second I was like, well, wait, we probably shouldn't say that someone needs to heal. But then I was like, no, I feel like you kind of can, because you can tell when someone needs to from the way that they act, or if they're projecting, like I said. And you're right, if you're already into this work, it's easy to observe and see it within other people, when they might be projecting or acting off of a trigger or something. It's just not for us to say they need to do it, or they're wrong for doing it. Obviously, that's not what we're saying.
So if it's in some of your close people, then it's just finding your power within that relationship, whatever relationship it is, and your favorite word, boundaries, probably, or just kind of going where, where there's more,
I think,
less resistance.
my favorite thing to do is when a situation like that comes up, is when I try to see how it's the other person, is I always like to play with the idea of, but what is in it for me?
Yeah, what does it bring? Absolutely. That is the healing journey.
Yeah.
I think that when you're on a healing journey, you allow that space for yourself. It is
Yeah.
all about self-reflection and wanting to show up more authentically you. And it's layered and it takes time and it's a journey in itself. But at the same time, there are more and more people on this healing journey. I
For
feel.
sure.
I don't know if it's just because we're in this world
yeah.
of it, the space of it, but I do feel like people, like what you were saying, feel stuck, or they're complaining, they're reaching out, they're wanting. It
They're
just feels
looking for
like it's on the
answers.
rise. I was talking to someone the other day and they said there used to be a gas station on every corner. Now there's a therapy session and there's counselors everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, just how times have changed and we're in a real need.
No, for sure. But yeah, that's why I think people are searching for answers and they're wanting to understand, and instead of just going with how things are or whatever, they're wanting to take their power back in their life and see what changes they can make. But I was just thinking how everyone says, like, yeah, I don't know, you see it on TikTok videos, whatever, like when people say it's their world, we're just living in it, like, and they'll be talking about like a baby or a dog or like, but even yourself, like, it's my world, everyone else is just living in it. And I feel like that's true for every single person, because that's what this life is about, like you said, bringing it back to you, self-reflection. Like, what am I supposed to see in this situation? What am I supposed to understand in this situation? What's in it for me? Or what is this trying to teach me? I feel like the point of this life is that self-reflection, that mirror energy, that seeing like what you need to see for yourself. And it can be hard because a lot of the times we can, when something comes up for us or someone makes us feel a certain way, a lot of the times I feel like we can make it about the other person. We can make it be about how they made us feel, what they did to us. And
Which could all be valid, but that's where there's choices. Like,
and well, and that's where the last topic that we just talked about comes in, where two things can exist at the same time. Like, it is valid how they made you feel, what was done to you, but why is this happening to you? It's not one of my favorite quotes, which is sometimes hard to hear, and I don't even like hearing it, is how life is happening for you, not to you. And it's being able, when you're in the space, to go back and ask yourself, what is happening for me in this situation? Like, what can I see here differently? What am I supposed to understand differently to help me feel better, to help me heal, to help me feel more connected with where I'm at or where I'm going?
and I think I do that personally. I've learned that. I've learned to do that, and I think you have too. So I think we've also learned, and again, this is what we practice on a daily basis. We learn to feel our feelings and feel wronged or mad or angry or whatever, but then allow the space for that and then allow the space for the reflection. And all right, like that's where I always, I always say like spirit is always there for me, like always, always. And I could be having the worst time, the worst day or most challenging day ever, and I would have equally the other side of it, like a miracle happen. Like it happens so much for me, and has happened so much for me, which has just taught me that having that worst day or that challenging day and really being in it is very important too. And I learned to, hold space for both for sure.
Yeah, I feel like you never know, because I was just thinking, like, because you said we learned it, and I was like, well, we learn it and then we forget about it, but we forget about it because we're supposed to feel our feelings and do what we need to, but then we always eventually
Go back.
come back to it. But then you might go back to being angry after you already learned it and saw what's in it for you. You could still be mad at the situation, at the person, at whatever happened, because that's part of it.
And I wonder where it's gotten lost, where you you were just mentioning like as a 10-year-old, like growing up in that and stuff, in the self-reflecting, or because it was your path and you are a healer, but also like I think society and the system, the the what we're plugged into, the work schedule, 9 to 5, the everything that this world is kind of built on. Don't you think? Like, it is hard to break away from that and to allow yourself this other world that used to be so woo woo and so like, oh God, like that. But now it's becoming more like people have to, because
Yeah.
they're burnt out, they're exhausted, they're not seeing their family because they're,
And
whatever.
I think that's also a positive aspect we can just mention relative to how the society is right now and social media and all of that stuff is I always hear and say like we're just everything's too available for us, there's too much information. But on a positive note, at least people are getting information. There's information out there that can actually help people that maybe they would have never seen or understood or looked into before. But with everything, all this information constantly being available to us, I think you are right in the way that it does pull us away from ourselves and what we're needing to do sometimes, and whether that's feeling our feelings or healing, whatever, like journey, the self-reflection journey that we were just talking about, like sometimes all of that information does pull us away from us, our connection to ourselves, at the end of the day. And so that's the thing with healing, though, or healing journeys that I feel like a lot of people can maybe get stuck on, or this is what makes them feel stuck, is they think when I heal, I'll feel good. When I heal, I'll feel better. When I heal, I won't think about this anymore. When I heal, I won't do this anymore. I won't do that anymore. And although parts of those statements can be true, I don't think it's the whole truth. And that's the biggest thing that I've learned from you, from Spirit, is nothing is ever the whole truth. There's always more than one truth. There's always, things are always changing, flowing. And so relative to healing and the healing journey, I don't feel like it is necessarily about healing to feel good or healing to feel better, because if you make it about that, if you make feeling better the end destination, doesn't it just kind of seem like there's a level of avoidance happening? Like you're healing to feel good, but it's not about just wanting to feel good, because we can't control how we feel. We can't control other people. We can't control so many situations that happen to us.
Yeah, and I have an example without getting too personal, but I feel like I've been in situations where I feel like I came a long way in healing something. And then fast forward maybe years later, something pops up. And I still feel like I came a long way, but I feel like it's just triggering the same emotion. That's why we talk about the onion and the layers that are in healing. I think, like you said, there's no healed, there's a forever spiral of just different levels in it. And I think that is healed or a healing. Like I think it's perfect the way it is, but it's honoring those feelings, and it kind of ties in with grief too. Same thing. It's all
and you could hear that and you could think, Jesus Christ, there's never an end to healing. It's never ending. Or you can hear that and think, well, like there's an aspect, a perspective that you can choose to feel and believe that it's exciting. Like you get to understand yourself on a different
deeper
level.
Because I do think it's just another layer. And in that layer, obviously, either years passed, a month passed, who knows how much time passed when you're up against it again. And at that point, you're a different person. Like we are different people every single day, sometimes every single hour. Like we could believe something or have a thought, and then something could totally shift our perspective, like what you talked about. You talked about it last week about, what was that? And you said now seeing from now that you're a mother.
Oh, yeah.
Like just having a more open perspective to anything once you're through it. So having been through something that you're healing with, or something that, and you're a different person and you're seeing it with new eyes all the time.
Yeah, and you can have something come up like for you 5 years later, and you can be upset about it, and you can think, why is this still
Yeah.
affecting me? I thought I did all this work.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was over this. I thought I did this, that, and the other. And you can beat yourself up, and and then that's what makes you stay stuck in the emotion, and stay stuck in whatever happened and whatever feeling that came up again 5 years later. And you can beat yourself up over it, or you can see that it's an opportunity to understand yourself differently. I think there's something to say, like, if something is coming up again 5 years later and it's still triggering you, maybe not the exact same, but it's still triggering you in a way, then it means there's still something for you there to understand about yourself. Instead of saying, I thought I did this already, thinking you backtracked, or anything like that, it's okay, what did I miss the first time? Or what do I need to see now? Because you're right, you are a different person now. And maybe if you weren't able to see this new part of this trigger or this situation 5 years ago, because you didn't have those 5 years of that experience of those situations to bring you now, where you could only have ever seen it now 5 years later. So
Yeah.
so do you think, I think I was just going to ask you and then I was going to answer the question myself. Do you think everybody wants to heal, or do you think there's something with people getting stuck in their pain?
So for
or
me,
choosing to be stuck in their pain?
For me as a healer, I feel like I think everybody wants to. But that could be me because I'm just kind of playing with that idea now. But
Yeah, no, it's
because
interesting.
because I see them hurting in some ways that maybe they could say they're not, but I could see it and I could feel it and I know it. But again, that's me
Yeah.
as a healer. So do I think everybody wants to heal?
Maybe a part of them, like a part of their soul, wants to.
Because I could see it playing out in other areas, like searching in other areas or
Right.
trying to get that feeling of
That's
peace
true.
in other areas. And if the other areas aren't, I don't know. So yeah.
No, that's true. I did hear from a spiritual teacher a long time ago something like, we all have needs. We all have our needs that need to be met. And if those needs aren't met, it's not just that we're going to learn to be okay without it being met. It's that we're going to, that's where our subconscious mind kicks in, and we're going to learn to subconsciously meet that need.
And
so
seek it out through a past, maybe trauma.
So say you have this belief that was built throughout childhood that you are bad, and you're a bad kid, you were a bad kid, you were a bad person, you always got in trouble, all these things. And you spend your adult life being a people pleaser, and it can come out as you're being a people pleaser for everybody else, and you're helping them and you're showing up for them, and whatever they need, you're there, you're the first one to show up. But maybe, and as much as it seems like you're doing it for everybody else, there's a part of you, a need that you're learning to get met by trying to convince yourself you're
bad.
good. You are a good person. You are a good human. You are a good soul. Instead of, and then you're draining your energy being a people pleaser, doing this, doing that, trying to convince yourself, not even everybody else, maybe everybody else, but mainly to convince and to reaffirm to yourself you're a good person, instead of just deciding that you are because you are. Because we all are. I believe we're all good. We all have intentions that are good or started as good. There's just so much pain that gets wrapped up in it for so many people that might take us away from our soul, from our path, from who we are. But I never really believed there was a good or a bad or a right or a wrong. It's just what is. And learning to understand that, and the things that took us away from that path of our soul. So yeah, I think you're right, where it's like we will always try to meet that need, or want to heal, have that longing for that connection, but
get it in other areas.
Yeah,
or
either you do it
places.
consciously or unconsciously.
Yeah.
The other thing relative to healing that I have kind of figured out, and I've seen this within myself too, is sometimes I get so caught up in wanting to heal a part of myself, a certain situation, and not feel this way anymore, that it's not about, or I would just want to fix something. Like, that's what my focus is on. And it's not about actually fixing the situation or what's coming up. It's more so like my inability to want to feel this anymore. So I'm like, well, I just need to get out of this. I need to find a solution. I need to figure it out. I need to heal so I don't have to feel this anymore. Mm-hmm. And then before we started this podcast, my brother was in the kitchen, and I don't know what I was telling him, like, you have to be quiet, like, don't let the dogs bark. And he said, Kaylie, let me tell you something. He said, what? Why? He said, what you resist persists. But that is how, I don't want to say he's right, but he's right. Because even in the terms of healing, and like I said, I noticed it within myself. The more I try to avoid something, mm-hmm. or the more I think I'm fixing it by finding a solution, by healing, I'm doing this, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm taking care of myself. But if it's my intention is to subconsciously get away from a feeling, then that feeling is always going to show up. And that's when you start to feel stuck in it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's something to talk about when we talk about getting stuck in healing, or when people feel like they've been trying to heal for years, or I just can't get over this one thing, or I just can't move forward from this, or I just don't understand why that had to happen. I feel like my question would be to you then, is there a part of you that's maybe trying to figure it out, fix it, understand it, get over it to actually move forward? Or is there something you're still avoiding feeling? Because I feel like at the end of the day, everything always brings us back to our emotions mm-hmm. and what we need to feel, mm-hmm. and what we haven't felt, or what we've been avoiding feeling. Like, that's what teaches us so much about ourselves and our needs. And it teaches us how what we need to do to move forward. And it helps us feel that much more connected to ourselves. Mm-hmm. An aspect of mediumship that I taught with some of my clients before, because they always say, like, well, I feel so disconnected from my loved ones, and I'm not getting signs from them. And I like to teach that your connection to the spirit world is also your connection to yourself. And the more that you can connect to yourself, the more you'll feel connected to them and everybody around you even. Mm-hmm. So I think the thing that stops you from feeling connected to yourself is when that avoidance aspect comes up in healing. When there's things you're trying to avoid, like the last conversation when I said I was actively avoiding the present moment with Apollo because there were things I did not want to feel. It was too hard for me, and that's okay. That's going to happen. But we also have to make it a point, or give space to know, like, what you resist persists. And if you continue to resist it, it's just going to keep showing up. So that's what I would say to the question of, like, why do people get stuck in their healing? Is there something there you're still maybe avoiding feeling or believing?
Believing about yourself. Yeah, I think it all has to do with yourself. Mm-hmm. Well, another aspect relative to healing is, like, people not feeling ready, like feeling stuck because it's not time yet, or they're not ready. And why I say that is because this past Sunday, it was funny because on the way to our event, we had an event on Sunday, and on the way there, I told her, just so you know, I'm going to start talking more in the beginning of our events, because I got used to her talking before every event because I got very comfortable, and mm-hmm. she talks so well, so it was no big deal. But what I found with me is I was waiting for her to finish because I was so nervous and I was so into my own stuff, feeling stuck or not ready. Mm-hmm. And she'd stop talking, and then it would be my turn to get right into it. So on the way there this past Sunday, I said, just so you know, I'm going to start talking, it's coming to me, it's going to happen in the near future. She's like, well, why don't you do it today? I said, no, not today. I said, I'm just telling you, I'm gearing up for it. And
you're like, waiting to feel ready.
Yeah, I'm waiting to feel ready. And she said, okay, and just let it go. And 10 minutes before the event, she felt sick. A minute before the event, she's sitting there with a garbage can about to be sick. And I'm like, you're really not coming out there? Like, wait, no, what am I going to do? They're all out there. And you're like, Mom, you're going to be fine. She couldn't even talk. She was pretty sick. And it just came on her quickly. So I had to do it. And I went out there and I did it. And I don't know. Like waiting to feel ready. I was not ready. I wanted a plan. I wanted to gear myself. I wanted to think about it before. And so I just showed up and I just did it. And it was beautiful. And we always talk about this too, like do it with our voice shaking. Mm-hmm. I never liked back in speech class talking in front of the class. Like it was very, very hard for me, and I don't like being center of attention. Some people do, and it's great, and they thrive off that energy. I'm always in the back telling people what to say and like giving them these ideas, and then so when the spotlight is on me. But anyway, what I did was lean into, well, I had no choice
to trust.
But I leaned into trust. And I do know I have worked with Spirit for so long, and they have been with me in my hardest times that I do know they're always there for me. And I do know, that.
And I feel like that teaching, like waiting to feel ready, can relate to people. Like you hear stories about people who moved hundreds of thousands of miles away from their family, or like new beginnings, like new chapters. Like people are waiting to make that life-changing decision because they're waiting to feel ready. They're waiting to feel the moment they feel ready to do that. That's what they're waiting for. And and sometimes needing to move or start this new chapter is like that. Sometimes that's what healing looks like, because healing looks different for everybody in every situation. And for some people it is, like I said, a brand new chapter. And I've heard this a lot lately on social media, but it's true, is that ready isn't a feeling. Because you're waiting to feel ready. It's not a feeling. Being ready is a choice, and it's choosing. Mm-hmm. And you had to choose in that moment to be ready because you were faced with nothing else.
Right. I could have decided in that moment to cancel the event. I'm so sorry. Like, we have to cancel.
I would have never let you do that.
Or, well, you were in no position. Or I had to go on. And it's true. It's a decision that you make, and then you move forward from that decision.
And so that's too what healing, like I was just saying, can look like for some people, is just making that decision. Like that's why healing is
sometimes the decision is so hard.
Well, but I mean, and that just goes into everything we just talked about. Like, life is happening for you, not to you. There are always going to be hard decisions. Like, that is life. And that's where everything we talk about on a daily basis, every podcast episode, comes into play. Like, that's where the real healing happens. When you make the hard decisions, when you do the things you feel pulled to do, even if you don't want to do it, when you're trusting, when you're surrendering, like all of these things. But that's what I was going to say. Like, the topic of healing is so broad, and it could mean a million different things for so many different people. But in the aspect of getting stuck in healing, or feeling like I can't believe this is still happening for me. Well, maybe there's certain decisions that you've been waiting to make because you have this idea in your head that when this happens, then I'll make this and then I'll feel better. Or whatever we can come up with in our head that can cause us to feel stuck, or come back to something, come back to a feeling or a situation and still get triggered because maybe the first 10 times it came up or happened to you or got triggered, you avoided speaking your truth or saying something for whatever reason, and that's why it's still triggering you. And you're waiting to feel ready to speak your truth, or maybe you're waiting for the other person to make a different decision. You're waiting for them to say something differently, or maybe you're waiting for them to apologize, when really the healing happens in doing what you feel pulled to in that moment of the trigger of the situation. So it's speak your truth, make a decision, like move forward, start a new chapter, whatever, however it shows up.
Mm-hmm. Another aspect of all of this, I feel, is self-compassion, and feeling stuck because you don't have that compassion for yourself, or criticize yourself for not being ready. You're to this or to that or not, whatever your self stories are. And in that moment, like using that example at the event, um, I was able to pull from, I am qualified. I am ready. I wouldn't be in this position if I wasn't ready. And it wasn't in my timeline because literally on the way there, just mentioned it, but I knew it's been coming to me for a while. And when I say been coming to me, having that close connection to myself, my own energy and spirit, I knew it. It was like, it was very close, but I was resistant. I was like, okay, but just wait. Like, it's coming.
But that's where, like, you 5 years ago, 10 years ago, would not have ever thought it's coming, or you weren't even connected to the thought or the fact that you're ready for this because you still had a belief that you weren't.
Yeah.
But that's what shifted along the way. So this situation, it is a great example because we do events monthly. And so every time it comes up for you, like you're getting triggered again. There's something that's coming up. But something along that, these years shifted for you to be able to see, like, no, I am deserving. I am worthy. And you're choosing to be ready.
That's what you said, yeah. And that's
For
what
sure.
happened.
And I think that's where so many... You're right. It is a big aspect to talk about relative to, like, people getting stuck or feeling stuck in their healing is the lack of self-compassion or the judgment that we put on ourselves because we feel like we need to feel something else, or we feel like we should be over this already, or we feel like we should not be where we're at, instead of seeing we're where we're at because it's for a reason, and we needed to go through what we went through for a reason, and we wouldn't be able to see things a certain way, or you wouldn't be able to give yourself that level of self-compassion that you were able to give yourself that allowed you to make that decision to be ready if you didn't go through everything you did, however, like the last few years of doing these events or standing in front of people. So yeah, I feel like it is really important to remember, and if you are someone that feels like you're getting stuck in your healing, I feel like that's what it comes down to at the end of the day is, like, where are you being rigid? Where are you being stuck and not allowing things to flow, or judging yourself, being hard on yourself? Because the more we can step into self-compassion, like even just talking about it or trying to feel into the energy surrounding self-compassion, like I feel like my chest opens up, my shoulders drop. Like there is a level of openness when we talk about self-compassion or bring it inwards to us. I'm sure that's what allowed you to be ready. Like when you said, no, I actually got this, or I see myself, I see my fears, but I know I can do this. Like it's freeing, it's opening. And when we can focus on that energy, that support, that feeling of connection, like tuning into that deeper energy of all of that, like that's what makes it feel easier to move forward where we need to.
And because of that situation and feeling so heavy, like my worst fear, I think I might have said that to the audience, like this is, but I use that as maybe an excuse or something, like I have to do this, but because they were all very nice to me. But halfway through it, I found myself a little excited, like to go to the next one, which that's never happened. And I didn't know if it's because I saw there was only a few more, like I'm almost done, like where I could breathe. But then Kaylie walked out. So right away when I was like, I don't know,
Halfway.
Feeling excited and like I got this, she walks out. So it was almost like a gift, like you did it. So now I got to sit back and watch her, which I love to do also. So it was perfect.
Yeah. So if you are someone who is feeling stuck in your healing, we talked about so many different aspects about why that could be happening, and it's going to be different every time. One time you're feeling stuck in a situation because you could be avoiding something. One time you could be feeling stuck in your healing or a situation because you're waiting to make a decision because you don't feel like it's the right time, consciously, when maybe that it is the right time because that's where you're feeling pulled. So that's the biggest thing that I've learned, I think I said this earlier with life, is things are always flowing and things are always changing, and it's never the same answer for the same person or different people. Like things are always going to be different. That's where that self compassion, that connection to the self comes in, and tuning into what do you need in this moment, checking in with yourself. Why is this coming up for me again? Why is this happening? What am I supposed to learn here? Seeing how this situation is happening for you, and then like taking what comes up. But you can't do that if you're not giving yourself the space to do that, which is the self-compassion in the end. Okay. Yeah, it was a good conversation. I think it's a good reminder for a lot of people and for us ourselves too, because we still get tripped up in it. Like just because, and I said this earlier too, just because you learn something, you're probably going to learn it 10 more times in this lifetime and have to go through it again. So it's a good reminder for us too, to just be with ourselves, to give self-compassion, and to just notice and be aware when we're feeling stuck. And most importantly, like let yourself be human, let yourself feel and go through what you need to go through, because just trusting that it's in the end it's going to be for you and it'll all make sense eventually, even if it doesn't make sense right now.